Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the Constructors Couch on behalf of the Worshipful Company of Constructors. My name is Paul Singh, and I'm delighted to be interviewing our talented scholars about their upcoming research. Next up is Megan Haslam. Morning, Megan.
Morning, how are you?
Very good, thank you very much. How are you?
Good, thank you.
That's good. Megan's interest in the natural environment led to gaining a degree in geography prior to entering the construction industry in 2016 as an engineer for Sir Robert McAlpine. Whilst working full-time, she studied to gain a master's in construction management and then worked towards earning an MCIOB, recently becoming a chartered construction manager. She has recently begun a secondment with the Sustainability Department at Sir Robert McAlpine and is looking forward to utilizing her technical experience and understanding of building physics to influence sustainable design. Thank you for joining us on the virtual couch, Megan. What is your research about?
Thank you for having me. So my research essentially focuses on Manchester city centre, and I'm looking to map two different things: wildlife and buildings. So I initially started gathering information on the existing wildlife in Manchester city centre, and I've actually been amazed at just how much there is. So we've got otters, kingfishers, peregrine falcons, bats, hedgehogs, and lots of these species are endangered or near threatened. So that's been really inspiring me to keep going with this project that will essentially help urban wildlife. And then the other side of the research is looking at green infrastructure, which obviously links in with the construction industry, and nature-based solutions. So by that I mean living walls, green roofs, sustainable urban drainage systems, and then really simple things that we can do like bat boxes, bird boxes, bee houses, and hedgehog highways. So a lot of the latter already exists, but one of the things I'm looking at is it tailored to the species we have in Manchester. So one of the ways we can identify, well, we need to identify first what we have in Manchester, and then we can look to tailor these kind of nature-based solutions for those species. And that's what my project's all about, really. So an example is in Manchester, we have swifts during the summer that come from Africa. And traditionally swifts used to nest in cavities or holes in old buildings. But with all these new builds that we're putting up in the city centres, we don't have nooks and crannies really in them. They're really watertight, airtight, all of that. So one of the things we can do is design the buildings to have a swift box or have a space for swifts to nest. And it's just a really simple way of helping wildlife thrive in the cities. So yeah, I'm hoping to put wildlife and wildlife friendly buildings on a map of Manchester, which then users will be able to engage with on social media or a physical copy, and then they'll appreciate nature and in turn want to support it.
So it's more like a call to action to take things seriously, because in a sense I like that fact where you're tailoring the biodiversity for the actual wildlife you actually have there. And being a property developer myself, I understand that you've got a requirement to, let's say, add biodiversity, but they don't really, you're kind of a lot of the time you're kind of just tasked to just come up with something. And obviously developers are not really going to be that invested in the biodiversity, so they're not going to cater for the swifts. Was it the swifts from Africa? Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's amazing what you've said, and I think also when I was reading about the bio of your research, I think what is underestimated is the health and well-being aspect of the biodiversity in developments. Off the top of your head, how do you think it positively impacts a tenant or a property owner, the increasing the biodiversity and developments? How do you think it would?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I'm really passionate about it, because I've always been really interested in wildlife, and outside of work, that's one of the things I spend a lot of time doing out in the outdoors, looking at nature. So I really appreciate it. And also the climate change side of things is the other obvious connection to wildlife. But I think over the past couple of years, what you've just spoken about, the benefits to the community, the urban communities, has been really highlighted through the pandemic and people being stuck indoors and stuck in the local areas. And the benefits to people are just massive. And one of the reasons I'm really passionate about it is during the pandemic, I, like a lot of people, was stuck in a city centre in a tiny flat with no garden or outdoor space. And I was really miserable because I was looking for a way to connect with wildlife. The sun's just, sorry.
It's okay. No, that happened to me. Basically, the sun. It's quite fitting actually what you're saying. So No, it's all right. I think what you were actually saying was the pandemic part, because that is something that I think, well, as what you said, drove the research. Is that right? Is that correct? Yep.
Yeah, so during the first lockdown, I was talking about, I lived in a small flat, and I had no garden or outdoor space.
Mm.
And during that time, a lot of people actually turned to wildlife and nature more to help them get through when they couldn't meet up with friends, family, and do the traditional hobbies. A lot of people went outdoors more and began to appreciate nature. And I realised that there's a real disparity in access to nature, and people in urban communities are actually at a massive disadvantage. Because
True.
they don't have easy access to those physical and mental benefits that nature gives us. And that's one of the reasons, the third motivation that I really want to do this project, to help those urban communities raise awareness of what's already there, and then support them and empower them to fight to protect it through these developments, and also show the developers and construction at the same time that it's actually really easy.
No, I think that's one of the things that developers need to know. So it's easy. It's not because obviously I can't imagine many developers or construction people their knowledge of wildlife or biodiversity is that high. I mean, I'm making a generalization, but I can imagine it's not like that. But I think a lot of them probably would like to do it, but just don't know where to start and what to do. You know, who knows what a swift actually what habitat swift wants, basically. Who knows, unless you Google it. But I don't think they have the motivation to do it. But I really like the passion you have for wildlife in particular, and you did touch on all your passions and kind of where you've channeled it. But where did that passion for wildlife come from? Like, was it when you were younger? Did someone take you to certain places and you just developed it from there? Where did it come from?
I'm not sure, actually. I'm probably the first in my family to be so passionate about it, but I do always remember loving animals and just anything to do with wildlife and being outdoors. And I grew up just before everybody had phones and tablets, so I was outside all the time, and that probably encouraged me just to appreciate the things around me. And yeah, I guess in this country, you know, people don't really think about all the wildlife that we have, but we do have so much wildlife, and it is in danger of disappearing. So I've realised now that for the generations that are going to come after us, if they are to grow up and have the same passions and enjoyments, then we need to start doing something about it. So yeah, I'm really proud that through this and through other things, I'm able to say that I am doing something about it.
Do you have any pets? Just to mind me asking.
I do, yeah. I have a dog.
Fantastic.
I sent her out on a walk so that we don't have a classic scenario where the dog comes bursting into the room.
I know, I get that. No, so I like what you said about how we don't know what wildlife we have here, and I bought a house in the country 2 years ago, and just the amount of wildlife, like moles and hedgehogs just roaming around, rabbits and different types of birds, and in fact what you were saying about how the pandemic, you know, just really it kind of accentuated this need for wildlife and green, basically the color green. I think it's fantastic, and I know personally how much it's really helped my well-being, just being able to see something green like grass and trees, and I think amazing. I think what do you think what do you hope will be the most the impact of your research on the wider sector?
Yeah, so ultimately my aim is to encourage more people to take action for nature. So like yourself, how you're saying, it wasn't really until you moved to the countryside that you realised that all this wildlife was around us, and now we have so many people living in urban areas and especially cities. And I want to really focus on those people and encourage them to realise what's around them and take action. So no matter how simple or significant the action is, the built environment has huge potential to influence how we shape the city centre and make it more resilient and sustainable. So through this, I'm taking really small steps to raise awareness and promote the benefits to people, the environment and wildlife, and also to get people to engage. So the idea of the map is something that's evolved as the research has been ongoing, because at first I was just looking at simple research where you interview and you produce your results, but then I thought, actually I want to achieve something through the journey of this research, and hopefully the map will actually get real-time engagement on social media or through users. Yeah.
So so you said a map, did you say? Yeah, okay. So do you think that's the most rewarding win during your research? Do you think?
Yeah, I think the map is still in progress because I don't have any artistic or graphic design skills. So that's probably the most rewarding but challenging part of the process. But some of the other highlights that have been really rewarding are just speaking to like-minded people and realizing how many different organizations and charities and groups there are already fighting this for this cause. And you know, with climate change or species loss and things like that, a lot of the time it's really dark and quite overwhelming because it's a huge global issue. So it's nice to just come across people that are trying to do the same thing you are, and I find that really, really rewarding. And just to speak to ecologists in Manchester and find out about the species that I mentioned earlier, like I live in the countryside, so otters is something that I'm really keen to see, and I haven't seen them in the countryside yet. And to hear that they have been spotted in Manchester during the pandemic last year.
Oh wow, yeah, that's nice. Well, I love what you said about just brings a bit of glamour to sustainability, and you know, everyone's talking about cutting fuel and you can't use this, you can't do that, cut this, you know, and then you're just going, well, you know, embrace biodiversity, which is actually a positive thing. You know, why wouldn't you? Because you know, for example, the moles in my house, I've got used to them. I actually go to myself, I'm housing moles. Instead of going, oh, I've got all these potholes or got these holes, I actually love them. I love them now, and I think it's because you think it's a positive thing, isn't it? Really. So you know, yeah.
And I think that's what residents in the city will be like as well. If they look out their window and they don't just see smog or people driving past and they actually see a swift or a peregrine falcon or something like that, then those people can have those experiences too, and it's only going to bring enjoyment.
Yeah, bees nests is something I love as well. Bees hives. Sorry, bees nests, beehives. I start saying wasps nests. I'm a bit indifferent about wasps nests. Beehives are probably I've just had to get used to them, and I think it's just, you know, because bees are probably one of the most important species out there. Basically, just it's amazing. I think, yeah. And so you feel that, you know, I mean, I'm not going to the extreme of where you have a beehive in your development, but I mean, you could do, but if you have a beehive around your development, you know, you feel that you really are making an impact in the world, you know, just allowing that to happen. So do you think you've attained any specific skills during the process so far?
A lot of knowledge, because just linking to what you were just saying, I didn't know that there are something like over 9,000, I'm probably going to get this wrong actually, so I won't say a figure, but there are thousands of species of solitary bee. So rather than you know, scaring people or putting people off by thinking, oh, I don't want a beehive next to my apartment, what you can do is you'll probably have seen at the little bee houses where there's bamboo shoots chopped, and solitary bees live by themselves in there, so you can house just one bee. And then you can have a little planter next to it, and then you're making a difference by just having one bee.
Amazing! Wow, what are they called again? Those bees?
Solitary bees. So they don't live in hives. They just live by themselves happily. So I think most people, I don't know how I'd feel about having a whole beehive, but I think I could cope with the solitary bees. So
that's amazing. Were those solitary bees born out of the pandemic? Solitary. I think it's a fantastic.
Yeah,
they're very.
So
it's exactly, that's amazing. I never knew. That's amazing.
No, exactly. So yeah, loads of knowledge on a subject that I'm really interested in, which just goes to show that hopefully this will touch more people and give them the same experience. But also just growing in confidence in terms of the opportunity to speak to people like yourself and engage with different platforms like this has been really good. And like I mentioned earlier, producing a map, I've not quite mastered that yet, but once I have, that'll be a new skill. I've also started a blog, which I'm hoping to promote a bit further down the line once I've built up some context on that. But yeah, just loads of different variety of skills that are really useful. Another one, I'm learning how to morph on PowerPoint. So a lot of people will probably already know how to do this, but I didn't, and it just makes your PowerPoint so seamless, like professional. It's a complete game changer. So yeah.
No, I think that's a really good skill to have. I reckon next time I speak to you, you're going to be like, I'll be like, what skills do you learn? You'll be like, I'm a master map maker now. So
Yeah.
I think so I like that. I think yeah, I'm glad that it's been quite useful for you as well. I think so. The last question is how has the West River Company Constructors helped you during the scholarships program?
So the scholarship programs given the opportunity to explore something that was more of a passion and bring it into my career and bring it into an industry that a lot of people will probably still see as a polar opposite to environmental and wildlife. And it's enabled me to find a way to bring the two things together and then promote it and voice it to other people, which is great because it's given me so much more fulfillment in my career to be able to do something that I'm really passionate about as well and that's quite true to me. And the Worshipful Company's been so supportive. They've organised all sorts of different events for us with lecturers from different universities to help us with marketing and presenting and data collection, like interviewing skills. And then they've given us all mentors as well. So Martin Gettings is my mentor who I know's participated in Constructors Cup previously. And also I've got a mentor within my own company who's our environmental lead for the North. So yeah, it's just helped you link up with different people that are like-minded, but at the same time have a completely different perspective on things, which is really great. So I would encourage anyone to apply for it next time because it's a really great opportunity to just follow something you're passionate about, and it can lead you in all sorts of directions. So it's been brilliant for me.
That's good. I'm looking forward to seeing your blog as well. So yeah, let me know when that's fully functional.
Yeah, I will do. I mean, the scholarship finishes in around January, February time next year, but because I'm so interested in this, I'm hoping it's something that really it's only just getting started as more and more people find out about it and contribute to it. So
fantastic. Well, Megan, this has been a great insight, and I really like your passion. Obviously, it just comes out, and I think also I like the fact that you're raising awareness for city people like me, just the benefits of all of this. And I think yeah, thank you for your time, and I wish you the best of luck for both your research and your career. You can see Megan as well as you're welcome. You can see Megan as well as our other scholars at our Zoominar on the 2nd of February 2022. And if you want any more information of this event, or if you just want to leave a comment, please email the address that you see on screen right now. And all I'll say is thanks for watching, and thank you, Megan, for your time and passion. And yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Okay.